Hey guys, Artosis here, bringing you some more ASL Qualifier action. This is game number 2 of round 2 of day 2 of the ASL Qualifiers, and Scan's run in particular. We have Scan up here in the top left, having won game number 1 in pretty dominating fashion against Tangsu in the bottom right here on Vermeer that last game. Yeah, everything kind of went wrong for Tangsu. This happens sometimes. Even very strong players will have a game where just, you know, something goes wrong, which leads to another thing go wrong, which leads to another, and you just get absolutely swept away. And that's what we had happen. So I'm hoping that we can have a better game here from Tangsu. I do know that he's relatively high MMR. I forget exactly the number, but yeah, I think he's strong enough to at least give a decent game here against Scan, though Scan, of course, would be favored. So the map is Polypoid, a very solid map for the matchup, and we'll see what type of styles both these guys want to go for. Will Tangsu go for a very aggressive style here once again? Would not be too surprised. That is kind of the meta for Zerg. Not that many players play the slower styles of 3-hatch or things like that. Only some of the world's very best and very worst players go with that. Most people are right in the middle, using things like 2-hatch replay. But yeah, we'll see about that momentarily. We have Scan just going for the barracks. It looks, you know, based on the placement and everything, this will likely just be a barracks expansion. Here comes that SCV scout as well. Tangsu, in the meantime, grabbing that hatchery at his natural. And yeah, comes down with the drone to just do his scouting. And we'll just see in a moment here, is it going to be pool and gas coming up? Which we have to kind of assume it is going to be. There we go, 200 minerals, and gonna pop that pool down. And yeah, this is definitely looking pretty standard. Should see the gas here momentarily, unless it is going to be that 3-hatchery play. Scan scouting into the top right. Second SCV coming out, so very normal stuff that you're seeing here. You know, if you don't find him with that first scout, the second scout is going to help so that you don't find them so late that anything could happen. And by the way, no gas yet. No gas yet. It looks like it's going to be a 3-hatch play. Ooh, I'm interested. I'm interested. You don't see it that often. Normally, you'll have the gas started already so you can get that layer started at 3 minutes, but absolutely not going to be the case here. Looks like his third hatchery is just going to go up in his main base. Not going to try to hide it or anything. Puts it right in plain view. And as Scan gets up and sees that, now he has a ton of information, right? As soon as you see that third hatchery, you know, your brain starts to spinning. Like, what exactly are they going to want to do with this? It's a much more high economy approach. You're going to have a lot more drones and be able to produce a lot more units. But it doesn't really get you into, like, it doesn't put any pressure on Terran early on. Terran can do anything. Once you scout this and, like, how light the gas is, without gas, Zerg has no potential for any sort of damage, for any sort of threat. So, yeah, Scan gets to decide completely what he wants to do. Now, 3 Marines are walking across the map. That's kind of interesting. He does like to do moves like this, where he's looking to just maybe walk across, get some damage, if his opponent is droning too heavily. And we see it's actually not too heavily. Like, there's going to be 4 Lings out here, and 4 Lings is right around when the Marines are not going to do as much. Let's see. Here comes the gas, and now we're going to wait and see for Scan. Does he throw up the quick engineering bay? I think almost 100% he's going to, but yeah, there it is. How many barracks will he end up getting? Like, is this going to be a 5 barracks plus 1? That was, for a very long time, considered the counter to 3-hatchery play. Now, these 4 Marines in the center, not sure they're going to really get much done. Like, he's going to catch... Ooh, doesn't quite kill a Ling. But he dealt enough damage that these Lings can't just wipe the Marines now, so that's kind of nice. Yeah, and Scan going to be able to micro against this pretty easily and clear it. I'm actually a little bit surprised that Tangsu jumped upon them. If the Lings hadn't taken any damage, then this could have been a battle that he won, but Scan catches them and cleans it up pretty well. So only loses 1 Marine to kill like 5-6 Lings. That's incredibly solid. Now, back at home, there are a few Lings being made. Ling speed layer is almost done. More drones are popping out as well. So these extra Lings are just for a little bit of safety. +1 has been going for a bit. We have that academy almost halfway done. And yeah, the interesting part for me is coming up in just a moment here. Like, how many barracks does Scan want to go up to? Generally, with the +1, you're going to see 5 barracks, but 4 is very playable. It gives a little bit less pressure, but you might be able to get your factory out quicker. And then I've seen 3 barracks +1, like, a couple times, but it's really, really, really not common. So I don't think we'll end up seeing that, but here's 3 to start. You know, your minerals don't come all at once. You do have to wait for those a little bit. SCV still scouting around. The Overlord's being spread as well. Spire about halfway done. You can see there's just no real pressure coming out of Tangsu right now. Now scans SCV poking into the natural here once again. Wants to go up that ramp, but of course can't quite fit with the 2 Zerglings sitting there. So Scan will want to throw down a scan here. Throws a scan down there and does not see the Spire. The Spire is actually right there. So that's actually quite annoying. These middle-ish scans, if you do find the tech, then the Zerg player played wrong, honestly. Like, a scan is, like, exactly the same size as the creep around a hatchery. So, as a Zerg, you should always be putting your tech on the very edge if you go 3 hatch. Because Terran only gets 2 scans, so you can actually just get lucky, and 1/3 of the time, they just aren't going to see what tech you're actually going for there. Now, a few links trying to go for a run by. That is annoying. He is going to end up getting a medic there. And runs up and is going to see that it is, in fact, 5 barracks play that we were talking about before. Some turrets getting started. Oh, that Zergling actually glitches out for a moment. Doesn't look like it's going to quite get the SCV as the medics come up to heal. But there you have it. Now we have a much more full picture of what's going to be going on this game. Scan is going to be producing a lot of Marines and medics here. He's getting range. He's getting +1. And as those 2 finish, the amount of Marines he's going to be able to field is immense. But we'll see what type of micro that Tangsu has. Look at this. This is a huge amount of mutas to start the harassment with here. Already 9 mutas out. So they can actually do things like dive upon turrets. And actually a very healthy amount of turrets. Look at that. Going for 4 in the main base, 2 right here near their barracks, 5 at the natural. Very good turrets here from Scan. But the one thing you got to mention, right? This is a little bit late. You want that by 7 minutes, but with this type of build, that's okay. It is kind of normal. Now, a fly-through from these mutas, he does take a lot of damage. It looks like he will end up losing at least 1 or 2. All right, 1 falls. 2 fall. Yeah. So, a lot of damage, though. And I would say not quite worth what he did there. Like, he got the scout. He sees the factory timing and everything. But the mutas took a lot of damage. These are very, very soft now. So, Scan can actually walk out with his Bioforce, and I don't think it's something that can be stopped. But over here, we have a lot of Sunkens. This is the vulnerable area for Tangsu. If Scan can move up and take out that base, that's going to be gigantic for him. Now let's take a look back at home. The Hydra's Den is finishing up. There's the Queen's Nest, so definitely going to be rushing up to Nidus, to Lurker, and to Defiler as quickly as he can. Very standard, very solid play there. But yeah, the big question is, what does the 5 barracks +1 get done? You know, the thought process behind this build is that you want to deny 3rd base. And I think what we're seeing here is Scan guessing that maybe the 3rd base will be down here. You don't have enough scans to verify exactly where it's at. A lot of times you want to actually scan the bases of Zerg to see, okay, are they going for like a quick evolution chamber, or are they going for, you know, quick lurkers, defilers? What is it going to be exactly? So a lot of bios coming out, and the Hydras look like they are going to sneak their way up to that top right. So as long as he gets those burrowed as lurkers, you know, basically as soon as you get them up to here, you're safe, because you can make morph lurkers and then morph a lurker egg, and the Marines can't break a lurker egg before the other lurkers finish. So you will be able to hold on to that. Now Scan is checking this bottom left. This is just, you know, this is kind of the randomness that can occur with builds like this, where Scan did not have enough scans to check. He went after this base. If he had happened to go up here, the lurkers haven't been started, he would have killed this base. Instead, he does not get anything done there. I mean, here he is. He's roaming the map. He has some map control and all that. That's fantastic. Oh my god, he's actually sending drones. If those make it, that's amazing. But yeah, Scan should not be able to actually get into this base. Now, these Marines going over the side, ooh, he turns the drones around. Very, very good move. Nidus should get started over here pretty quickly. Looks like he's going to go for another macro hatch as well. There's a Defiler Mound in Evolution Chamber. One Marine was sent up here, and now the Lurker's just going to stack on top of each other. Okay, so this game, despite the fact that the Mutas didn't really do much of anything other than a quick scout and just slightly slowing the Marines, Tangsu has his third base up. He has Lurkers there. He has the gas mining. That's all very, very solid. Nidus is coming. Defiler Mound is coming. He's started his carapace, getting a macro hatchery. Look, he's already got a spore here as well, which this has become very, very popular at high levels to add spores into your sunken line. Definitely helpful, indeed. It makes it so that vessels can't just do what they want over there anymore. But yeah, it looks pretty solid. Now, I'm not, like, afraid for Scan here. This is... Well, it's not a position you play much nowadays, but it was definitely a position you played a lot, like, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, right? Where you've done 5 racks plus 1, you put some pressure on, but Zerg has gotten their base up. Now, the macro is starting to look very, very strong here. Look at this. Has a creep colony coming up just for some additional defense. The Nidus Canal coming up, very, very important, and another macro hatch. So Tangsu is really getting ready. Look at the drone count. 50 drones. This is going to be a big macro game. And again, there's no way for Scan to actually kill. If you take a look, he's actually gone dropships first, so Scan is going for some heavy aggression here. But will he be able to get anything done with that? Ooh, some nice irradiates go down. The Lurkers were not completely stacked, so he does get 2 of them irradiated. But still, 2 at the top of the ramp, you do not want to try to break with an army that looks like this. In the meantime, we have Adrenal coming for Tangsu. The Mutas sitting here. This is like an interception location. But the dropships are going around. Okay, the Mutas come back. Oh my god, they go after the vessels, and that allows for the dropships to do their job. Down goes the Dark Swarm immediately. He can't go up the ramp. Tries to for a moment and loses quite a bit. And now with Lurkers popping out of the Nidus, even though he got this dropout, how much damage will it end up doing? I'm not sure very much. A lot of lings being made at the moment. The Muta's actually suicide in on top of these units, so he will actually clear that. I gotta tell you, I think Tangsu is not in a terrible spot here at all. His supply is pretty close. He stopped the first drops. You know, there's only a couple vessels actually out right now. The additional ones are starting to be pumped, but that is a little bit of a lack of pressure. And now Scan is going to try to drop elsewhere, but there are Scourge waiting. There's a lot of lings out as well. The upgrades, of course, a little bit behind as you would expect them to be in any non-crazy Zerg build. But looking very solid. His macro is really going to start to find its stride. Now look at this. Going after the dropships. He actually damages both, but does not kill one. If he had killed one, this would look so different right now. Ends up killing one off, but this is a very annoying area to deal with Marines with just Zerglings. So that drop turns out to be quite strong indeed. A few drones do end up falling as well. But that's probably the end of drop play for now. We'll see if Scan is able to get any more out there. Just constant vessels being created. A lot more racks is coming up. He has that third base. Looks like he's getting ready to make another base here as well. And I think... Oh, I did not expect this. This is a very uncommon fourth base location. In fact, Scan is not too likely to scout this. He even had dropships fly over here a moment ago before it was made, right? So, like, he's really not going to be thinking of this as a fourth base location. You're really going to be thinking of this spot, right? Like, that's the much more common place. And if you look at, like, the amount of static D, it really doesn't feel like Scan can get any damage done right now. He's sending his vessels over to the side here. Some nice irradiates go down. Going to get rid of a Lurker. Going to get rid of the Defiler here. And his unit's going to rotate up probably. Ooh, a Plague was cast as well. Going to rotate up to try to cancel this. But again, this is actually the fourth base. It is harder to defend, but very, very sneaky. Now, Scan taking his own fourth base. Has a good clump of Marines there to defend it as well. He is up in workers, but just slightly so. His 2-2 upgrades are done with 3-3 on the way. Look at this Defiler. One Defiler comes out and you have to turn around and run with your whole army. Yeah, stims forward to take that down. A few Marines do get plagued. Very annoying to deal with, but at least he picks off the Defiler there. Maybe a little bit wasteful there from Tangsu. And another base being taken. My god. Well, this is what can happen when you get this many drones. I told you that 3 hatch openers are much higher economy. And you can really see that reflected here in the supply, in the amount of hatcheries. Now, he doesn't... Like, Scan still has map control. He still has good tech. He has great upgrades. So, he's not in trouble, per se. But Tangsu is setting himself up for a game that could be very nice. Oh, my god. Ooh, could have gotten every vessel there, and in fact, kills quite a few of them. Now, Scan should be able to kill this base, so he's going to be thinking he just is killing the 4th base location here, which is gigantic, of course. Where are Tangsu's units? Okay, Lurker Ultra comes out. I think he's actually gone Ultras too quickly here. Runs down the ramp there for a moment. But this hatchery, of course, will get picked off. A little bit sloppy here from Tangsu. Now, yeah, I feel like at this moment, if Tangsu had made a few more Lurkers, I would like his position a bit more. The Ultras are still in very low numbers, and the upgrades haven't caught up yet. So it doesn't feel like a great time to have Ultras, even though his economy is pretty strong. Sometimes it's better, especially when you picked off vessels like that, to just make Lurkers for another minute or two, right? And then you can just kind of ultimately secure every spot. But the Lurkers are... I mean, the Ultras are starting to come out onto the map. +3... Okay, he does have +4 carapace finally, so that's very important. He has equaled those upgrades of the Terran Bio now. And suddenly the 4th base does get found. So another hatchery looks like it's going to fall here, but a counterattack comes up here from Tangsu. That is a lot of Ultra Ling. And he is going to be able to knock out that first bunker. Second bunker should go down in a moment. Ooh, not the best Darkstorm. Here would have been much, much better. The bunker actually doing a fantastic job of reducing the health on this Ultra. Looks like he will have to end up lifting off this base, but the 4th base is up. Puts some more Marines into those bunkers as well. More Darkstorms going down. But here go those Radiates now. Now, Tangsu still has this base, so he still technically has 4 bases, 4 gases here, which is really, really strong. But will he be able to hold on to everything? Because Scan is starting to move around with a lot of bio units here. One Defiler off to the side. The few units from that counterattack are starting to be killed off. I mean, very annoying under the Darkstorm. You're not going to be able to kill that for a while. But Scan moving forward now with this Bioforce. And you can see the supply differential starting to show itself in Scan's army supply here as Tangsu spends quite a few units trying to get some counter damage off. Some BCs being added into the fray as well. Oh man, down goes the Nidus. It looks like the 3rd base is going to fall. Everything going wrong. A drop down at 6. And it looks like the calm, patient play here of Scan is going to pay off. Tangsu losing everything. He actually got himself into a nice position there, but yeah, everything suddenly all at once starting to fall apart for him. 3-3 upgrades done as well here for Scan. His money's starting to peak a little bit, but that is understandable. There's a hell of a lot going on the map. And okay, I think that's looking pretty bad for Tangsu. He has like a little bit of a chance because he did save this base, right? So he still has 3 gases, and he actually has an okay gas bank, and his upgrades are actually going to catch up reasonably well, right? Like, his Ultras are going to be on 2-5, which is really, really solid. You can definitely battle 3-3 with that. But is he going to have enough? That's kind of the tricky part. His army supply is actually a little bit better than what it looks like here because the drone count is lower by comparison. Okay, some greater Radiates go down. Kills both the vessels. The Radiated Ultras... They have their damage aura on, but will be picked off there as well. Scan's macro, absolutely phenomenal here. His 8 racks just pumping nonstop. And it looks like the little counterattack that we had up here at 12 has been cleared. BC is sometimes one of the best ways to hold one of these bases. And there's just not a lot left over here for Zerd. Like, okay, a little Darkstorm attack. Yep, throws down another Darkstorm. You can prevent mining here for a bit. Like, it's better to run the SCVs than to just let them die. But I guess Scan does not care about that right now. Few Lings going across the map. I mean, if the Lings can meet up with the Defiler, it gets even worse because you just start plaguing, you continue. Look at this. The Ultra actually getting a lot of damage here as well. Unable to get very much done. Like here, the Defiler sits. Eventually, the Darkstorm will run out. Ooh, goes out of the Darkstorm. Don't ever want that. Factory checking on this. Oh, another hatchery in the bottom left. Tangsu very good at adding those hatcheries on nonstop. Scan swatting them down with his giant Terran fly swatter here. The 4 BCs being worth their weight in gold. Just kind of deterrence at these bases. Ultraling, no real way to fight back against that. Ship weapons even on the way. Always smart to get ship weapons. Just a little fun fact here. Scourge get one-shotted by BCs unless they get a carapace upgrade. So that's something at a very high level. Like if you see BCs, you should probably get carapace. But once BCs get +1 air attack, even +3 carapace Scourge will be one-shotted by the BCs still. So it's because they get +3. Right? that's how the upgrade works. But definitely very, very quality upgrade when you have battlecruisers out. If you're two-shotting Scourge, then Scourge actually counter BCs. If you're one-shotting them, then BCs are countering Scourge. Unless it's really super overwhelming numbers with nothing under the BCs. So anyways, Scan walking out onto the map. He's up about 50 supply right now. And that is 50 army supply. A lot of Marines. A decent amount of vessels. His vessel count has been reduced several times, but he's got enough irradiates in here. No big issue. Throwing irradiates down onto all of the Ultras. Pulls back into this ball. But, you know, as the Defiler comes up, a Plague can go down. Okay, he chooses to use Dark Swarm, but that can be retreated from. Throws another one down there as well. But, again, Scan just running out of it at the moment. Tangsu, with his only 3 bases, really needs to secure another. Throws a hatchery down here, but of course that floating engineering bay, really great usage of these floating buildings. Checking out the bases, because again, you don't have a lot that shoots up with this type of strategy from Tangsu. So a lot of intel being had, really fantastic play, and I think this is basically it, you know. There's just so much bio on the map, and he's playing cleanup at this point. You see that magical 70 supply number. When you drop below 70 as Zerg, you just can't hold on anymore. At 70 with Defiler, no problem. But as soon as you start going below that, that is where you see GG from Zerg. And we should be seeing that, honestly, any second at this point. Drops below the 70. And as everything is getting cleaned up, I mean, I guess he's got that base, so he's trying to stay in this right now. A Defiler chasing everything away by itself. Couple BCs coming over to finish off this base. And there's just not enough anti-air that can be fielded at this point. Looks like he wants to make some spores, but even that is going to be a little bit rough. Like, he's going to lose every drone and then the spore from these 2 BCs. And Tangsu, yeah, 50 supply. Like, there's really nothing left. I think he's absorbing loss. GG! Scan moves to the next round.